All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful idea called thinking like a data scientist. It's basically a framework, a new way of looking at things that can completely change how a company creates value from all the data it's sitting on.
Does this sound familiar? You've got data coming out of your ears. Customer data, sales data, operational data. You're practically drowning in it. But when someone asks, so what does it all mean? Crickets. You're thirsty for real, actual insights. It's a super common problem.
And that's the heart of the issue, isn't it? Most places are data-rich, but insight-poor. Just having mountains of information doesn't do you any good. The real magic is knowing how to turn all that raw stuff into smart business decisions. So how do we actually fix that? How do you bridge that massive gap? Well, the answer is to adopt a new mindset, a structured way of thinking that's designed specifically for this exact challenge.
And that's what thinking like a data scientist, or TLADS for short, is all about. Now, what makes this so cool is that it's not just some dry technical process. It's this awesome blend of data science, sure, but also design thinking and even economics. It's all built around one core idea: finding new ways to create value.
And here's what's really important. This is not just for the PhDs in the data science department. Nope. The whole goal here is to create a culture of what you could call citizens of data science. It's about empowering everyone, whether you're in marketing, HR, or on the factory floor, to use data to make better calls in their day-to-day jobs.
Okay, to really get why this method is such a game changer, we have to look under the hood at its secret sauce. There's a really powerful economic idea at its core that changes everything.
So, it all starts with this tiny but massive shift in perspective, moving from a purely financial mindset to an economic one. See, a financial mindset is all about hitting the numbers, right? Making the quarterly goals. But an economic mindset is bigger. It's about asking, how can we create new value for our customers, for our employees, for everybody? That switch is absolutely key.
Now, in the traditional world, businesses always slam into a wall. This curve here shows it perfectly. Let's say you're spending money to improve something, like a machine's uptime. You spend a little, you get more uptime. Great. You spend more, you get a little more uptime. But you see where this is going? Pretty soon, you're spending a ton for tiny little gains. This is that classic textbook problem, the law of diminishing returns. You hit a point where every extra dollar, every extra hour you pour in gives you less and less back. You're just spending more and more to barely move the needle. And for a long time, that was just a fact of life in business. But what if we could just break that law? This quote really nails it. The real power of all this big data we've been collecting wasn't just that it was big, it was that it was incredibly detailed. It's all about the granularity. Being able to zoom into an almost microscopic level. That changes the entire game. And that brings us to this amazing concept, nanoeconomics. Forget looking at broad averages across thousands of customers. Nanoeconomics is about zooming all the way in, focusing on the predicted behavior of a single person or the predicted performance of a single device. It's about understanding the one, not just the many. And this is what happens when you do that. Look at that. By making super precise decisions at the individual level, we don't just flatten the old curve, we completely shatter it and create a brand new one. This new curve is way, way more efficient. This is how you really start to do more with less. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we make nanoeconomics a real thing? We use something called an analytic score. Just think of it as a single number that tells you the odds of a very specific thing happening for one person or one machine. Like, what's the chance this customer is about to leave? Or what's the likelihood this engine part is going to fail next week? You're actually already super familiar with this. A FICO Reddit score? That's an analytics score. It's one number that predicts how likely you are to pay back a loan. So just take that idea and apply it to your business. On the right, you see a patient's health profile, scores for wellness, stress, risk factors. It's a way to turn complex data into a simple, actionable number for each individual. It's incredibly powerful. Okay, so we get the why. This whole nanoeconomics thing is a huge deal. But now, let's talk about the how. The TLADS methodology isn't just a theory. It gives you a practical, step-by-step process to actually put all these ideas to work. So here it is, the whole roadmap. This is the 8-step process that takes you all the way from, we have a business problem, to, wow, we have a data-driven solution that's actually working. And you see that loop at the end? It's designed to learn and get better over time. It's not a one-and-done thing.
Now, to make this less overwhelming, the 8 steps are chunked into 4 simple phases. First, you've got phase 1, define. This is all about picking a valuable problem to solve and really getting to know the people involved. Then, phase 2, design. Here's where you map out the solution, figure out what data you'll need, and decide what to tackle first for the biggest bang for your buck. Phase 3 is build. This is where the data scientists get to work building and testing the models that create those all-important analytics scores. And finally, phase 4, adapt. This is the feedback loop, making sure your solution keeps learning from new data so it gets smarter and more accurate over time.
So we've covered the mindset and the step-by-step plan. Let's get to the bottom line, the payoff. Why should you or your organization even care about all this? What's in it for you? Well, the benefits are huge. When you start thinking this way, you're not just guessing anymore. You're making genuinely data-driven decisions. You get your business teams and your tech teams speaking the same language, which drives amazing collaboration. It forces everyone to focus on outcomes that actually matter, which makes the whole organization more efficient. It can literally transform your entire company culture. When you boil it all down, the whole TLADS methodology is really just a structured way to answer this one massive question. How do we get better at using data to run our business? How do we make it the engine that powers everything we do? So I'll leave you with this. You've got the basic toolkit now. You understand the mindset. The only real question left is, where are you going to start? What's the first problem you're going to look at, now that you can think like a data scientist?